Some of the barriers disabled people may face in the foundation stage are a lack of early experiences. So at school they might not have had the opportunities to take part in sports, and they might not have had the facilities to be able to do so. They might have a lack. Teachers at the school might have a lack of understanding of how to include the disabled people in PE and sports with the other children in the school, and the disabled people might find it difficult to mix with others and get along with them the same and play team sports because they don't have the exact same abilities.
Some of the barriers at the participation stage might be a lack of facilities and equipment. So if there aren't any disabled facilities and equipment, then they won't be able to take part in any sports. Also, they may not be able to even access the facility, so if there's not a ramp, they won't be able to get there with a wheelchair. There's also limited psychological and sociological factors. For example, the parents and coaches might not sort of encourage them very, very well, so they don't want to take part, and their self-esteem might be really poor, so they don't feel like they can progress any further than the participation stage.
In the performance stage, they might face limited transport, so if they are part of a club and they are maybe the only one in a wheelchair, they might not have the facilities to be able to actually get onto the minibus or the coach, so needing things like ramps or the actual space to be able to put the wheelchair. If the team sport or their club is travelling further away to play a game, then they might not be able to get there because of the transport or because of money, because sometimes it's expensive to be able to travel further, and they might struggle to find sponsors to pay for that, so they won't be able to afford it.
Some of the barriers at the elite stage include the lack of media coverage. There's very rarely any disabled sports on TV, and it's not mentioned in the news very often, apart from the Paralympics. There's also a lack of teams and facilities, not only at elite level, like in the Paralympic teams, but at performance and participation stages. If there isn't enough teams there, then there aren't going to be enough to progress on to the elite level. However, there are more role models now after the Paralympics being on TV, and it's encouraging more people to get involved. Some of the solutions to all of these barriers may be for national governing bodies to target disabled groups, and also make facilities more adaptable by making ramps and storing the different equipment that they need. Also, the English Federation of Disability Sport has brought a campaign called Together We Will, and that's trying to bring people that have disabilities together and achieving sport. Also, a lot of money needs investing in these sports just to try and get more people going, and yeah. Some of the barriers for women in sport are at the foundation level, which is quite a big part. Some of these include not being able to attend school. So in every country, not every woman has equal rights, so they don't have to go to school, or they're not even allowed to go to school. Therefore, they're unable to join the foundation level and progress up the pyramid.
In the participation stage, women might be unable to play certain sports because of age groups. So, like in rugby, you can only play with boys until you are 11 years old, and then you have to find a girls' team, which there ain't usually very many girls' rugby teams, like specifically rugby league, and the same with girls and boys football. Also, if women have children, then they need to find the childcare to be able to go and play them sports, to look after them whilst they're out, like on a weekend or wherever, if they're at school. And also, childcare can be very expensive, so they might struggle with that. In the performance stage, they might be unable to afford or access sport for the professional sport. So if they're travelling further away, they need to find their own sponsors to be able to pay for it all, because they won't be able to pay for it themselves. Say for again in rugby, if a woman rugby league player was travelling to Australia, they need the sponsors to be able to pay for that, because it would be really expensive to pay for yourself.
At the elite stage, there's also a lack of role models. There's some dotted about, more in athletics, but I think this is down to there's only 4% of media coverage that's actually for women's sport on TV and on the radio at all. So the rest is all down to men. And if they don't see women on TV doing sport, then people aren't going to want to do it neither. Also, there's a lack of teams and facilities at the elite stage. So,
solutions. So this includes national governing bodies of sports to target groups like young girls, especially like in schools, to get them on to like clubs and programs so that they carry on sports throughout the rest of their life. These things like This Girl Can to encourage girls and women to take part in sports, and that's not just all about men doing it. Put on transport so that girls and women are able to get there even if they have children, or like they have to take parents with them because they're younger or whatever. And more media coverage on women's sports, like for football, rugby and other things, because they need more role models to be able to look up to.
Okay, some of the barriers for black and minority ethnic groups. At the foundation level, it isn't compulsory to have an education in some countries, and also it's not free. So in like Africa, people have to pay for their education, and therefore some that can't afford just don't go to school and don't get that education and chance to be in the foundation sport level. Also, there's racial stereotypes, so people can get bullied at school, and it really puts them off ever joining the participation stage, so they're never going to join the next level. Also, oh no, that's it.
In the participation stage, they might face negative experiences in PE, like in schools, so it might stop them from wanting to go to the next level, like the racial stereotypes that was mentioned in the foundation stage. Also, there might be language barriers. So in school, maybe it's an English school, and there aren't any teachers that can actually talk their language or to be able to translate it so they know what they actually want to do. And clothing and equipment. So if some girls have to wear headscarves or burqas, they might not be able
to. Some of the solutions to these barriers, maybe to target the groups that are from black and minority ethnic groups. They can also make better facilities by making them better equipped, practically and attitudinally, to accommodate people from these groups. Particularly, it's a concern for Muslim women, so it would be good if we could find a sport, make a new one or adapt another one, so that they can still do sport with their beliefs, so still wear their burqas and their clothing that they believe in, but also play sport. There's a Kick It Out campaign, which is trying to kick out racism. It was brought in by the PFA, and it supports players who have suffered from racism, and it's trying to get rid of it, such as Rio Ferdinand and Thierry Henry from football. Also, for people that can't necessarily attend school, there's street games which are put on by the Youth Sport Trust, so people can join up in the streets and play different games, and it's just a variety of people. At the performance level, some of the barriers are cultural differences. So within different cultures, people don't believe in the same things. For example, people in this country that are Christians, may not, real strict Christians, may not believe that we should play football on a Sunday because it's meant to be a day of rest, whereas people from different cultures or those that aren't as strict Christians wouldn't mind it. So it therefore might put people off that are real strict Christians playing football. Or it's also underrepresented in coaching, managerial and organisational roles.
At the elite stage, the barriers they may face are lack of role models. So, in like general sports, like on TV, like on Sky, you don't really generally see many other countries' like sports being like shared. So, in particular, like Muslim countries, you don't see any sports shown from them. Also, sport is usually associated, especially on TV and in the media, with white middle class, mainly men, and this can put like people off from wanting to get to that elite stage because they might feel like they're the only one that's going to be different from like the white middle class person. And the like the way media portrays people, so like I said, like there's way more white people showed on TV playing sport, and there's a lack of role models of like people from different backgrounds and ethnic groups.
Yeah.